So now that you've seen the PlayNim game run, how does the program work? So if we start looking at the code, nothing ever happens until we get down to the bottom here, line 36. The first thing that would happen would be where the computer asks the user how many sticks are in the initial pile. So that is running over here. Now, once the user inputs the num sticks, then the PlayNim function runs. So if we look here on line 29, where we have defined the PlayNim function. So if we play the game, first it's going to say let's play nim. Okay, then it's going to enter this while loop. While num sticks is greater than 0, so if the user entered a number that was greater than 0, then of course this while loop will happen. So we enter the while loop. The first thing that happens is player turn. So what constitutes a player turn? Well, we have to go up to that function to determine what a player turn does. So on line 5, we have defined the player turn function. So the first thing we do is we qualify num sticks as a global variable, meaning that it's not just local, it's not just going to work within the player turn function, but it's going to work within all aspects of the program. So next, we ask how many. So we ask the user for the number of sticks they want to draw. Do you want 1, 2, or 3 sticks? And notice it is an integer, and so that means they're going to enter a number. Then we will enter this while loop. So it says while how many, which is the question we just asked the user, is less than 1, or how many is greater than 3, or how many is greater than num sticks. If any of those are true, then how many is going to equal the integer, the raw input. You need to enter a legal number. So for instance, the user could only draw 1, 2, or 3 sticks. But if they entered a number that was less than 1, then of course that is not a legal number in the game. Or they entered a number greater than 3, that is not a legal number. Or they entered a number that was greater than the number of sticks remaining. That is also not a legal number. So assuming that they did not enter an unallowed number, then the while loop wouldn't happen, and we would just go down to line 10. Where num sticks now equals num sticks minus how many. So we started off with however many sticks the user started, and then we take away the number that they've drawn. So then the computer is going to print sticks remaining plus num sticks. But notice we put the str in front to qualify it as a string so that it will print on the same line as sticks remaining. Now, if the number of sticks equals 0, then the user, the player, has won the game, and so we print you won. And of course, then we go down into the PlayNim game, and you can see that after the player turn, it says if num sticks is greater than 0, then it's the computer turn. But if the number of sticks was equal to 0, then the game is over, and so the computer wouldn't get a turn. But going back up to the player turn, if the number of sticks was not 0, which is probably the case on the first turn, then the player turn is over, and now we go back down here, and it would be the computer turn because the num sticks is greater than 0. So now, computer turn. What constitutes a computer turn? Well, now we need to go to the computer turn function. So on line 15, we define what constitutes a computer turn. So first of all, we once again qualify num sticks as a global variable. It's not just going to be local within that function. All right, and then we set this idea of max equal to 0. And there are other ways we could accomplish this, but this is one way. So we'll refer to that in just a moment. But first question, if num sticks is less than 4, then max equals the number of sticks. So for instance, if there are only 3 sticks left or 2 sticks left, then we are going to say that that is what max is. Otherwise, if the number of sticks is greater than 4, or equal to, I suppose, then the max is going to be 3. So why is that important? All right, well, the computer sticks is going to be a random number, so rand range, from 1 to max plus 1. So for instance, let's say that the max was 3, as noted on line 21. So that means we would be selecting a random number from 1 to 4, but remember, not including 4. And so that means the computer could select a number 1, 2, or 3. Now let's say that the number of sticks was less than 4. Let's say that the number of sticks was 3. Then that means that max is 3, right? The number of sticks, which means that we would be selecting a random number from 1 to max plus 1. So once again, 1, 2, or 3. But now let's say the number of sticks was only 2. That means we could only select a random number between 1 and 3, not including 3, which means you could only select 1 or 2. Now, once again, if you are going to use the rand range function, you must have imported the rand range function earlier on line 3. So anyway, to continue on with the computer turn, numsticks now becomes numsticks minus the computer sticks. So remember, that is the numsticks was how many sticks were remaining in the pile minus the number of sticks that the computer picked up. So then the computer will print the computer picked up however many sticks was randomly selected from line 22, and then sticks. So remember, we have to qualify it as a string because the comp sticks is a number. Then on line 25, it will print sticks remaining plus, well, number of sticks. So however many sticks are left after the computer took some of the sticks. Now, once again, here, if the number of sticks equals 0, the computer has won, and the game is over. But if the number of sticks is not 0, what happens? Well, that would end the computer turn. So then we go down here into the play nim function. Remember, the computer turn just ended. So what would happen? We would go back up and we would re-enter the while loop. So while numsticks is greater than 0, which it still is, because if it was equal to 0, then we would have printed the computer 1, and then the game would be over. So while numsticks is greater than 0, then it's the player's turn. So we would obviously go back up to player turn. However that ends, then if the number of sticks is still greater than 0, then it would be the computer turn, and so on. It would keep going through that while loop until the number of sticks equals 0.